Have you ever looked out of an airplane window and thought, wait, why am I not falling right now? Below you, just clouds and thousands of feet of open air. And yet this massive metal machine weighing over 400 tons is just floating up there. How does that even work? Why doesn't it simply fall? Well, today we're going to answer that question, step by step, simply, clearly. No complicated math, just the real physics behind flight. First, let's talk about gravity. You already know what it does. It pulls everything downward. You, your phone, a feather, and yes, a 400-ton airplane. Gravity doesn't care about size, it just pulls. So the real question isn't why does the plane fall? Everything wants to fall. The real question is what force is powerful enough to fight gravity and keep that plane up there? That force has a name. It's called lift, and lift is the hero of this entire story. Now, have you ever noticed the shape of an airplane wing? If you look closely, it's not flat. The top of the wing is curved, it arches upward slightly. The bottom is flatter. This specific shape, this curve, is called an airfoil, and it is one of the most important designs in all of human history. Here's what happens when air meets that wing. As the plane moves forward, air flows over the wing and under the wing at the same time. The air going over the top has a longer path to travel because of that curve. The air going under takes the shorter, flatter route. To cover that longer distance in the same amount of time, the air on top has to move faster. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. A Swiss mathematician named Daniel Bernoulli discovered something surprising back in the 1700s. He found that faster-moving air has lower pressure, and slower-moving air has higher pressure. Think about what that means for our wing. Fast air on top of the wing means low pressure above. Slow air below the wing means high pressure underneath. And what does high pressure always do? It pushes toward low pressure. So the high pressure below the wing pushes the entire wing upward. That upward push, that is lift. But Bernoulli isn't the only one helping here. You might remember Newton's third law from school. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The airplane wing is tilting at a slight angle. Because of this tilt, when air hits the underside of the wing, it gets pushed downward. The wing pushes air down, so in reaction, the air pushes the wing up. So lift isn't just one thing, it's a combination of Bernoulli's pressure difference and Newton's reactive push, both working together to hold that plane in the air. Here's something crucial to understand. Wings don't create lift on their own, they need speed. If a plane isn't moving, there's no airflow over the wings. No airflow, no pressure difference, no lift. The plane just sits on the ground. That's where the engines come in. Jet engines produce thrust, a massive forward force by sucking in air, compressing it, mixing it with fuel, and blasting hot exhaust backwards. By Newton's third law, shooting gas backward propels the plane forward. As the plane accelerates down the runway, air rushes faster and faster over those wings. Eventually, at around 250 to 300 kilometers per hour, enough lift builds up to overcome the plane's entire weight. The nose tilts up, and the plane rises. Now let's zoom out and see the full picture. Every airplane in the sky is balancing four forces at all times. Lift, pushing the plane up, weight, gravity pulling it down, thrust, engines pushing it forward, and drag, the resistance of air pushing back. When a plane is cruising smoothly at 35,000 feet, all four forces are in perfect balance. Lift equals weight, thrust equals drag. The plane holds steady. The pilot doesn't have to constantly hold the plane up. The physics does it automatically as long as the speed and the wing angle are right. Okay, now the scary question. What if an engine dies mid-flight? Does the plane immediately fall? Surprisingly, no. Commercial planes are designed and certified to fly perfectly well on just one engine. They're built with redundancy from day one. And here's something even more remarkable. A plane with no engines at all can still glide. Because lift depends on airflow, not directly on the engines, a powerless aircraft can descend in a long, controlled glide, like a giant paper airplane. In 1983, a Canadian Boeing 767 completely ran out of fuel mid-flight due to a calculation error, and the pilots, using nothing but the glide of the wings, landed the plane safely. That aircraft became famous. It's called the Gimli glider, and it's proof of just how reliable the physics of flight really is. Now, turbulence, the thing that makes every nervous flyer grip their armrest. Is the plane about to fall when that happens? No, not even close. Turbulence is just bumpy air, pockets of atmosphere moving at different speeds and directions. When the plane hits those pockets, it shakes. Cups spill, people grab things. But the plane is not in danger. Aircraft are tested to handle forces far beyond anything turbulence can produce. That terrifying feeling of dropping is usually just a few feet of movement, even though it feels like hundreds. Pilots don't fear turbulence. To them, it's just a bumpy road. Uncomfortable? Sometimes. Dangerous? Very rarely. The Wright brothers made the first powered flight in 1903, just 12 seconds, 36 meters. That's it. And from that tiny moment, humanity built an industry that carries over 4 billion passengers every single year using these exact same principles we just talked about. The curve of a wing, the speed of air, the pressure differences so tiny you can't see them, and yet powerful enough to lift a city block into the sky. An airplane doesn't fall because it is actively flying every single second. The wings are constantly shaping airflow, generating lift, and working with the physics of the air. So the next time you're sitting by that window, looking out at those long wings slicing through the clouds, remember, you're not defying gravity. You're working with physics so perfectly that gravity simply doesn't get a chance to win.